Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful math class with your teacher, Mr. Hagiwara. Hooray! So, uh, we're continuing on our lesson about area of parallelograms, and we're expanding that understanding to start to talk about triangles. Okay, triangles is where we're going. We want to know more about triangles. So we're going to use what we know about parallelograms to help us understand a little bit more about triangles. Okay. It's a pretty straightforward lesson. Basically, a lot of what you're doing is playing around with triangles, and sometimes you're partitioning them, which means you're using a line to kind of cut them. I'll say that word one more time because it's a vocabulary word for today. Sometimes you'll partition the the parallelograms. I'll write it here. Partition. Sometimes you'll partition the parallelograms, and basically that means you'll like make a cut, and we've already done that a little bit, but that's what partition means. It means you kind of cut, and we'll talk about that more as we go through. We'll use that word partition more. Okay, so let's look at the objective. Can someone raise their hand and please read me the objective? Okay, I said raise your hand, not shout out. Thank you. Good job if you didn't. Okay, I can explain. I'll read it, okay? Yeah. Oh, okay. I can explain the special relationship between a pair of identical triangles and a parallelogram. So let's look at some of this vocabulary. There's a special relationship. There's some sort of connection between a pair of identical triangles, meaning a pair means two identical, exactly the same triangles. So if we have two exactly the same triangles, there is a special relationship between those triangles and a parallelogram. Okay, are you guys getting excited? I am too. Here's your first activity. Draw one segment to decompose each of the following polygons into two identical triangles, if possible. So we're partitioning the shapes. We're partitioning the shapes. So here we go. Here's the first one. You have this on paper, or you might have this. I'll move it over here because I know that it's hard to see some of this stuff here if it's on the left side of the screen, in case this is being projected. So you're going to take this and you're going to create a segment to partition the shapes into two identical triangles. Can we do it here? How can we cut this? Well, first I'll click on this. I'll click the line tool, click on this corner, click, then click. And there we've done it. I made two identical triangles. Can you do this with all of them? No. Can you do this with some of them? Yes. I want you to figure out which ones you can make. So maybe what I think a great thing to do is try doing it on both. Try doing it all the different ways, okay? So there's both ways, and that works with only one cut, right? If I want to erase, I click delete and then click it again. Let's look at one that maybe doesn't work. Okay, well, we'll do B too. Let's look at B. If I cut it like this, if I partition it, do I still have two identical triangles? Yeah, they are the same. They're just flipped. They're the same triangle. Like if I could take this triangle and flip it over here, flop it over, then it would look exactly the same. Okay, so that's one way you could cut it to make two identicals. But let's see, maybe I thought, well, let's cut it like this. Are those two identical triangles? Yes, they are, because if I took this triangle and I flipped it around like this, whoop, if I turned it over, if I put it on top, it would line up perfectly here. So these are also identical. What about this shape here? Are these, if I cut it, will I make two identical triangles? What do you think? Well, what if I cut it like this? Are those triangles identical? No, that's right, they're not. What if I cut it like this? Are those triangles identical? Look closely now. Look closely. If I put those triangles on top of each other, would they match up perfectly? Yes. No, that's not right. I'm sorry. Good try though. No, it would not match up correctly though. And I always love participation. So whoever said that, good job. That's a great effort. I appreciate that effort. That is incorrect. Okay, so these are not identical. I would like you to finish these up and discuss here. I want you to cut all of these shapes, partition them, and then you're going to take a screenshot of your work when you're done. And oh, I need to say that here. And you're going to upload your screenshot here. So upload your screenshot at the end. Complete all the slides. Upload a screenshot of slide 4. What slide is this? Slide 3. And your work from slide 3. Okay, here we go. There, thank you for bearing with me. So again, what do you have to do for slide 3? You're going to click this link. You're going to partition all the ones that you can make identical triangles. Only partition the ones that you can make two identical triangles. And then there's a question right here. Study the quadrilaterals. Study all the four-sided shapes that you could decompose into two triangles. So all the ones that were a yes, like this one and this one, what's the same about them? What do these have in common? What makes it different from this one, which does not work? What is the same? What do these have in common? I'll give you a hint. I would start to think about what kind of shape they are. If you can tell me what kind of shape all the ones that do work are, then I'll accept that. They are all, or you can even start to look at, if you are not sure, you can look at, well, what about opposite angles? What about opposite sides? Okay, you can describe the shapes in that way. Okay, so go ahead. If you're doing this whole class, take a moment, do it right here, do it right now, and let's pause the video. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you, if you haven't already, please share a whole class, which ones worked and which ones didn't. If you're not, then we'll, yeah, okay. But otherwise you can discuss. And I'm going to look forward to seeing those screenshots. Okay, next assignment here. This assignment here, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link at the bottom of the page. For slide 4, click on the bottom of the page. And I'm going to ask for screenshots of these too. So you're going to have to take a screenshot after you do this. But there's some questions here. The first question is, which pair of triangles do you have? And there's going to be a letter, so you'll see. And then the question is, can each pair of triangles be composed into a rectangle, a parallelogram? So let's go here. And then I will pick, and then the way you get, the way that you pick a new one is you push new pair, and then you see there's some shapes here. Okay, I'm going to pick W. That means that no one else can use W. W is special to me now, okay? So here's W, and the question was, can each pair of triangles be composed into a rectangle? So I'll start with that. Can I turn this into a rectangle? Now, how do I move this? If I grab it here, it moves the W. That's weird. Oh, look, this yellow thing helps me move it. If I grab the yellow thing, I can move it. If I grab the green thing, I can turn it. So let's see. I think I know how to turn this into a rectangle already. Let's see. I think I can. Can I? It's looking good. Oh, yeah. Is that a rectangle? I think so. I think this side is a little bit longer than this. Is it a rectangle? Yes. And by the way, even if it made a perfect square, a square is still a type of rectangle. A square is a special rectangle. So even if it's a perfect square, you say, yes, it's a rectangle. So for mine, I had W. And then which pair can I compose it into? Excuse me. Can each pair of triangles be composed into a rectangle? Yes. A parallelogram. Now, can I make this into a parallelogram? Well, I remember what a parallelogram is. I mean, this is already a parallelogram right here because it has opposite sides are parallel. This side and this side are parallel. This side and this side are parallel. So that makes this a parallelogram and a rectangle. Oh yeah, also I want after I made my rectangle, I'll screenshot it, screenshot, and then I'll save it to upload later. Then here, let's see if there's any other kinds of parallelograms I can make. Wait a minute, is this a parallelogram? This line's parallel to this line. This side is parallel to its opposite side. Oh yeah, here's another type of parallelogram I can make. So maybe I'll take a screenshot of this one too. Boop. Even though, to be honest, the rectangle would have worked. Okay, great. So how about I'll say this for each one. You need to just take one photo, okay? One screenshot per pair, okay? So if you make it into a rectangle, take a screenshot. If you make it into a parallelogram, take a screenshot. Obviously, if the answer for is it a rectangle is no, then you better not show me a picture of a rectangle, right? So here, I had a picture of a rectangle. I took a screenshot, but I'm high achieving student, so I'm also going to take a screenshot of my parallelogram. Okay, and then I'll put that there. And then can I make a parallelogram? Yes, I can. So go ahead and you and your partner pick two shapes and do this. Pick two pairs, pick two pairs, or you can do this independently, but please support your neighbor, support your partner with good questions, with good help. If you're doing this on your own, pick two and do it on your own. Go ahead, this will be a good time to pause the video and to work, and then we'll have a couple people share their work. If you're doing this on paper, then yours looks like you might have to cut some out. So if you're working with Miss Little, there's scissors at the front of the room. Just make sure that the kids don't make a mess. Or another option is, if we want to avoid this cutting right now, people can look on with someone who does have a computer and just draw it somewhere. Just draw the images that they make right here. Okay, that's also fine. All right, but I think being able to cut it out and do it is the ideal. Yes. All right, go ahead, get to work. Let's have about 5 minutes. Okay, now, so now we'll do a couple more problems and then it'll be on to your homework. Here are some quadrilaterals. What is a quadrilateral? Who can raise their hand and tell me? That's right. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for raising your hand. A quadrilateral is a four-sided shape. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quad, four. Like kind of like cuatro. Quad, four-sided shape. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here are some quadrilaterals. Circle all the quadrilaterals that you think can be decomposed into two identical triangles using only one line. Okay, so do you think that you can decompose any of these into two identical, meaning exactly the same triangles? If you want some help, you can get the line tool right here, click on it, and then start to cut it. Like maybe I'll click here. Can I cut this into two? Oh, definitely not. Those are not the same. But let's just make sure that if I do it over here, are those the same? No, definitely not. So this one will not get my circle because it is not make two identicals. But if I look at this one looks a little bit better. If I partition it right here, I think that would be. And also if I partition it here, let me double check this. If I partition it here, oh yeah, those are identical because if I put them right on top of each other, they would perfectly match up. So I will say, yes, this one makes two identical triangles. Oh boy, I'll pat myself on the back. Ow! Okay, let's keep going. So now you guys take your time. If you're doing this here, take your time and complete this, and then you can come back and discuss. Maybe I would say you need about 3-4 minutes to complete this page. We'll pause here. Okay, and if you haven't already, please discuss your solutions, which ones were and which ones weren't. Please discuss it as a class if you haven't already. If you're doing this on your own, then discuss quietly in your mind about which ones you chose. Okay, and I'll wait. Okay, and so now we're going to continue. Just feel free to pause at any time. But here, let's go to the next page. Here is a right triangle. Show or briefly describe how two copies of it can be composed into a parallelogram. Let's read the question one more time because I got a little distracted when I was reading it. Here's a right triangle. This is the right triangle. This one. This is the original. I made these guys right here. So they're like, this is a right triangle. Okay. Show or briefly describe how two copies of it, and I made the copies for you right here and right here, can be composed into a parallelogram. So then I gave you some extra steps. Use the triangles below to show two different examples of a parallelogram. Okay, so take these shapes, and the way that you turn them is right here. You grab this little knob, and you can change the shape, okay? You can change the shape to make so that you can make two different parallelograms, okay? After partners do this, you can do this on your own or with your partner, depending on what the sub decides. After that, discuss how the different parallelograms you made. Okay. Go ahead, and I'll start this now. This is the practice problems for the homework. Unit 1, Lesson 7, practice problems, and it's our good friend Elmo. He's made his return. Okay, I'm not going to do his voice though. Okay, here we go. Here is your homework. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To decompose a quadrilateral. So if you're ready to do this, you can just go ahead and start. And if you're watching this video on your own, if you'd like to just get started, go ahead, and then you can come back to this video for any hints or tips you need. If you're watching this whole class, you can maybe have the tips and then give people work time and then engage them, or however you want to structure it. But this is the time now when I'm going to go over the homework. To decompose a quadrilateral, decompose means to kind of break it into two pieces, right? To decompose a quadrilateral, a four-sided shape, into two identical shapes. Identical means they're exactly the same. Claire drew a dashed line as shown. Okay, so she took this quadrilateral, she decomposed it into two identical shapes. So she drew a line. Okay, A, let's start answering the questions. A, she said that the two resulting shapes have the same area. Do you agree? Explain. Did Claire, and then you're going to put your answer here. You're going to type your answer here. B, did Claire partition the figure into two identical shapes? Explain your reasoning. Okay, I think that's pretty explanatory. If you're having a hard time finding the area of this triangle, you kind of can use your common sense and kind of figure it out. But one strategy you could use to find the area of this triangle is find the area of this quadrilateral and then take half of that, because it's exactly half. But yes, I can tell you that this is cutting exactly here in half. Next, triangle R is a right triangle. This is a right triangle. That means that this line here is at 90 degrees. When something is a right triangle, it means that this line is perpendicular to this line. It's a 90-degree angle. That's what a right triangle is. Can we use two copies of triangle R to compose a parallelogram that is not a square? Can we use two copies of this that is not going to make a square? If yes, explain how or sketch a solution. So when I check your Google Doc, I'm going to be looking for the shape that you made here. If you can't, then explain why not. Explain why it wouldn't make a parallelogram that's not a square. So I don't want to see a square here. I want to see a parallelogram that's not a square. 10. Slide 10. On the grid, draw at least 3 different quadrilaterals that can be decomposed into identical triangles. So how you're going to do that is you're going to go over here to the shapes with this little circle and square. Circle and square. Click on the circle and square. Go down to where it says shapes. Okay. And then you're going to see there's all these different things here. Now you cannot use triangles because triangles have 3 sides. You cannot use circles because circles have no sides. Okay, but I see there's this shape here. This shape might be helpful. I see there's trapezoids here that might be helpful. So you're gonna have to find the shapes that do help you. Like this thing here, I don't know what those do, but just you can see where my mouse is kind of hovering. Maybe that might help you. Okay, you're gonna make 3 different 4-sided shapes that can be cut into identical triangles. Okay, let's go down here. And you're gonna put them here. So like, I'll make one here. So, here, I'll take a rectangle and I'll make one 4-sided shape. And I know that can be cut. If I want to change the color, I can go up to the bucket. You don't have to do this though. Gray is fine. I'll go up to the bucket and I'll change the color. Boom. But I know you guys love to play with this stuff. So I made this one not a you can move the background. If you accidentally move it, just push Control Z and it'll move back, okay? And you can always just click on the pieces and move them. And then you need to answer part B. Identify the type of each quadrilateral. So mine, I would say number 1, rectangle. Okay. I'll delete that. You have to do it on your own. Okay. So you can make lots of different shapes. Number 5, slide 11. This one, they give you a base and the height, and you're going to find the area. If you forget how to find the area of a parallelogram, ask your neighbor, ask your partner, ask your sub. Base times what? To find the area of a parallelogram, it's what? Base times height. All right, let's keep going. List all the segments that could represent a corresponding height if the side N is the base. So this time they're saying hi. They're waving at you, and you wave back, I hope. And they say, I'd like you to make N the base. Okay. And you say, okay, because, that's what you do. You say, all right, I can do that. And now pick all the ones that have the correct height. Okay. If this is our base, which ones are the correct height? Okay. And you can put those down here. All right, everybody. I hope you're working hard. I hope you're being respectful to the sub, to anyone who's watching you, to whoever's classroom you might be joining. Okay, I'll be back soon. My time at home is drawing to an end, okay? I know you miss me. I miss you. I'm looking forward to getting back. So please work hard. Please do your best. Don't fall behind during this time. I saw a lot of people turn in good work yesterday. Excellent. If you are a little bit behind, it is your responsibility to get it done, okay? So make sure you're taking care of that. Yeah. If you have any issues, if anything's going on, let me know. Hopefully the videos will play. If they don't play, please tell whoever's watching right away that it would help you to watch them in the whole class. And maybe you guys are watching a whole class right now. And much thanks to all the support. Thank you. If someone is watching the class right now, thank you so much. You rock. Okay. Have a great day, guys. Bye.